Congressman Michael McCaul, he's the ranking member on the Foreign Affairs Committee. Congressman, good to see you. So let me put this up. It's the House forecast from our power rankings. Republicans right now projected to get 231 seats if everything goes their way, but that's a margin of error, plus or minus 15. The Democrats, 204, plus or minus 15. It would give Democrats 189 on the low side, 219 on the high, which means that they retain control. The GOP, 246 on the high side, 216 on the low. But this is not the red wave that we saw coming weeks ago. It looked like there was going to be a 2010-style shellacking of the Democrats. What happened?
Well, I think every election tightens up at the end. But let me just say that, look, I think we are going to win the majority. No serious pollster has said otherwise. And I do think you're going to see some excitement going into the election and a potential red wave hitting it. All you got to do, John, is look at where the money goes, right? Look at the money, follow the money. So 80% of Republicans' money are going on the offense, while 20% on the defense. On the Democrat side, just the opposite. Only 20% of their money is going on the offense, while 80% is going on the defense. In fact, we're playing in districts that Biden won by up to 10 percentage points, which is very significant, and we've outraised them by $40 million as well. And I like to look at, in my home state, Mayra Flores. Here we had the first Mexican-born Republican elected to the United States House of Representatives, showing that there is a red wave in Texas. We could win 3 Republican female Hispanic candidates could win 3 districts in South Texas near the border for obvious reasons, because we're winning on the issues, whether it's the economy, the border, crime, or national security.
There's no question that that was a watershed moment, but the Democrats really have effectively leveraged that Dobbs decision at the end of June and narrowed the gap. The Republicans don't really seem to have an effective counterpoint to that.
Well, you know, I think that's really all they have right now is to talk about that.
But it's powerful.
And you know, the fact, when I go home, you know, John, I don't really hear much about that. I hear about inflation. I hear about the economy, gas prices. People are not happy. And I think the Wall Street Journal poll that showed that 7 out of 10 Americans believe the country's on the wrong track. Now, I'm not a pollster, but I've always been told in presidential elections, but also midterms, that is the key poll number to look at. Are we on the right track as a country or the wrong track? And if you've got 70% of the American people think it's the wrong track, I think that's great news for Republicans on election day.
It's usually a pretty good indicator. Here, I want to pick your brain here as your membership on the Foreign Affairs Committee. Here's what President Biden told 60 Minutes on Sunday about the U.S. and what would happen if China attacked Taiwan. Listen here.
But would U.S. forces defend the island?
Yes, if in fact there was an unprecedented attack.
So unlike Ukraine, to be clear, sir, U.S. forces, U.S. men and women, would defend Taiwan in the event of a Chinese invasion?
Yes.
That seems to be going way beyond anything that's been articulated thus far. The White House has been trying to walk it back, but I'm not quite sure how you walk back the fact that in a very public fashion, the president just committed the United States to go to war with China if it attacks Taiwan.
Well, I think that was another Biden moment where he just spoke without thinking about it, and the staff, you know, tried to walk it back. I do think what he's talking about is the doctrine of strategic ambiguity, which we've had for quite some time. I do think with respect to Taiwan, we need to stay strong in our support and have more of a doctrine of certainty when it comes to arming them as a deterrence, like we have done in Ukraine. Of course, we should have done it before the invasion. And I argue we should have done it before, you know, before any invasion occurs in Taiwan. We need to properly arm them. John, I've signed off on all foreign military sales to Taiwan, and we have a 3-year backlog of weapons that have yet to go into Taiwan to defend herself. And if that doesn't change, Chairman Xi, he's looking at this very closely. And when he gets reelected as Emperor of China in November, watch out, because even if, as our CIA director said, it's not a question of if, but when he does so.
Yeah, but just very quickly, if I could, just to be clear here, if China were to attack Taiwan, would you support sending U.S. forces to counter that attack?
I support protecting Taiwan so we don't have to get to that point. and defending them so we don't have to go to war. And if we could put proper weapon systems in there and a variety of asymmetric warfare pieces where we would not have to do that. But at the end of the day, if Chairman Xi wants to invade the South Pacific, going back to World War II, and he's already gotten the Solomon Islands, and Putin's taken over, trying to take over Ukraine, that unholy alliance is very dangerous to the United States of America.
No question about that. Congressman Michael McCaul, always good to spend time with you. Thanks.
Thank you, John.
Sandra?
All right, thanks to the Congressman.